What event of unlikely odds have you experienced? There is a meningitis vaccine today. The original one was back in the early 80s. There was a long period it was gone. The reason for this is because a small amount got really sick from it. I was one. I cannot call the exact number. My mother knew. But I was apparently one of a very low percentage that ended up with blood poisoning from the vaccine. Almost die. I was 6, had an awesome doctor that didn't give up, that figured out. The CDC was reviewing my case. I'm not anti-vax. Quite the opposite, however. I did not get the new meningitis vaccine. Last summer, my boyfriend and I went to a theme park. Our first ride, we waited in line for about 20 minutes, and we got on the ride. It broke down, and we were evacuated as they made the fix. Second ride, Power Tower, we got on the ride, and it broke down, and we were evacuated. We agreed that if this happened on one more ride that we would get a refund and leave for the day. Third ride we got on it successfully, we kept off the ride, and money is literally falling from the sky, because someone on another ride must have lost their wallet. So odd. I got a rare and life-threatening complication of gallbladder removal surgery that affects something like 1 to 2% of people who have that same surgery. A leaking bile duct. From reading a lot about the treatment of such a condition and the average success rate overall, I realized that I had about a 60 to 70% chance of dying from it. Of course, no one told me that while it was going on. A year and 16 more surgical procedures later, I'm pretty much recovered from it, but I have permanent side effects and I'll never be the same again. A year ago I was home on sick leave and I couldn't shovel snow, so I contacted a charitable organization for help. This very nice young man showed up to help me, and I was very grateful. When I returned to work last fall, a young man started working at my place of employment. I realized it was the same man who helped clear my snow. When I decided to retire at Christmas, this young man got hired for my position. What are the odds of that happening? My heart was full. I witnessed a phenomena in which a meteorite is falling to Earth so quickly it will bounce off the atmosphere, changing direction, speeding off over the horizon. I was a kid. I had no idea what I had seen. Years later, thanks to Reddit, I learned about it, and the few videos I watched were identical. Even the color orange. Many people end up thinking they've seen some kind of UFO, like a spacecraft, and I admit as a kid I sort of did, but kept it to myself. 5th grade. On the playground, recess had just started, and it looked like rain. I held out my hand to feel for raindrops. I felt one hit my hand and immediately closed it to save the drop and show my friends that recess might be cancelled for rain. A group of kids gathered around me so I could show them that I had caught a raindrop. I opened my hand and discovered I had caught bird poop instead of rain. In 2017 I got Rocky Mountain spotted fever from a tick in Wisconsin. Never found the tick on me, so it was super hard to diagnose. I was told that was rare. 3 months later, I was diagnosed with parotid cancer. I was 21 at the time, my oncologist's youngest patient with that type of cancer ever. Told that was rare too. Not the type of rare I want, but hey, it's something, and I've lived to tell it. Was leaving my office building after work, and I slipped and fell after I accidentally stepped on a banana peel. Hardest I've ever laughed, because it was the most absurd and unexpected thing that has happened to me. My feet went up in the air, and my dress went over my head as I wiped out on the pavement. The poor man who helped me up saw everything, and was laughing too. I can't blame him. I was at a Cleveland Guardians game in 2008 and witnessed Asdrubal Cabrera's unassisted triple play. It was only like the 14th one ever. It was pretty underwhelming. Like the runner just got confused and forgot to tap the base, and Cabrera caught a fly, tapped the base, and tapped a guy out in about 3 seconds. Most of the stadium was just baffled about how we had 3 outs all of a sudden. I play a game with my kid where I spin throw those big flat rubber bathtub plugs onto the tile wall, so they stick. I can reasonably reliably throw one up onto the top tile. One night I threw another one up at it and it kicked the first one off, and stuck underneath it. The bathroom frisbee version of splitting an arrow. My kid thinks I'm some sort of bathroom frisbee god. A thief stole my car out of my driveway with all my college books in it. So since I didn't have a car anymore, my mum had to take me to college that day. As we were driving there, I found my car sitting dead on an on-ramp. It just happened to throw its transmission right then and there. I just happened to look over, and there she sat. All my books were still inside, too. Lost my ATM card. Went to the bank to have it replaced. Told them what I wanted the PIN to be. And they told me that the PIN would be randomly assigned and mailed separately. And once I received both, I could then change the PIN to what I wanted it to be. The randomly assigned PIN was the one that I wanted. I get a new co-worker. His birthday is the exact same day, date and year as my sister. That's not so improbable, right? He has a wife. His wife's birthday is the as my mother. Okay, weird, right? They end up having 2 kids. One is born on my grandmother's birthday and the other on my grandfather's birthday. I got a vasectomy when I was 25. My wife was told by 3 different doctors that she was infertile, and in the super rare random chance she got pregnant, she'd never have a successful pregnancy. Anyways, I'm 39 and she's 40, and we have twins who just turned 2, and yes, they're mine before anyone asks. Kaver made a good dual suspension mountain bike. It got stolen from his building. 2 days later, a truck drives into work to deliver some items, and on the back of the truck was the bike. Driver said some girl left it at his place, and he was dropping it off, yeah, whatever. At least we got it back. Survived an event with no outward signs to show for it. The event either killed everyone else that went through the same event, or left them in a vegetative state for the rest of their short lives. I'm the only one to survive relatively unscathed. And you'd never know if I didn't tell you. For me, first got cancer in 1993. In 2003, they told me to get my affairs in order. I had 6 months. In 2021, they told me it spread to my bones and lungs. They gave me 5 years. In 2023, 2 years down and feeling about 90. I worked at a Starbucks in high school. My cell number just happened to be almost exactly the same with the last 2 numbers transposed. I got calls for Starbucks for years after I graduated, moved, and changed my number. When I was in high school, my girlfriend cheated on me. The guy she cheated on me with ended up dating the crush I had from a different high school I went to that was states away from my old high school. My father has blue eyes and my mother brown, while I have green, which has a 0.4 chance of occurring. I had an ovarian pregnancy, which is something like 1 in every 50k ectopic pregnancies, born with a handful of biological differences that are rare. And then as the years went by, I developed disorders that are very rare. But I've never won the lottery. What the fuck? Since the end of the Vietnam War, there have been only 3 Air Force transport aircraft that have been hit by surface-to-air missiles, and I was the loadmaster on one of them. I called a wrong number, and the guy had the same name as the guy I meant to call. He also knew a guy with my name, so it took us both a while to realize what was happening. I once won a game of rock, paper, scissors against a magician who kept pulling out rock every single time. Turns out, even magic has its limits. My dad's friend got a fungal skin infection sort of thing from strep. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's around a 1 in a million chance. My first long-term girlfriend had a rare metabolic disorder. After the 3rd date with my wife, she told me she has the same rare disorder. Became best friends with a girl in school around 2nd, 3rd grade. In 6th grade, we found out we had the same father. I got COVID one time and developed an absolutely life-ruining case of long COVID. Be safe out there, y'all. I was born, accordingly to scientists, the possibility of being born is 1 in 400 trillion. My daughter and my grandpa shared the same birthday, and he passed away on my birthday. I've been into mass shootings, a couple years apart, and it had taken its toll. A friend of mine passed away from Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease.